Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Art's evening meeting, Lessons from Art's Journey. I am your co-moderator, Delisha Morris. We have Miss Shirley, who's moderating, Miss Tucker, who's moderating with us, and Miss Anita, who will be our timekeeper. And we have a wonderful panelist who will get introduced a little bit later. I want to first go over some housekeeping notes. Bathrooms are down the hall and to the right, and food is coming out right now. So for all those who are here with us in person, feel free to make yourself a plate. If you're thirsty, head to the bar, tip your bartender. You can do that all night long that we're here. We want to make sure that for the best view, you guys sit as close as you can so you can hear everyone's answers. And the hope is that we end at 7:30. So sit back and relax. We're about to get started.
And again, my name is Shirley Tucker, and we're going to go over the community agreement. And the first one is, let's be respectful. There will be one mic. Let's be open and willing to learn. And then we're going to save our announcements until the end.
And here we are with those introductions. Again, I am Delisha Morris. I am a part of ART's Participatory Budgeting Committee, as well as a resident of the 9th Automatic District.
And again, my name is Shirley Tucker. I'm also a volunteer with ART, and I'm part of the budgeting committee. I am a Northwest Side resident. I have been living on the Northwest Side for over 44 years. I am a wife, a mother, a minister, and a grandmother.
Hello, my name is Brianna. I go by Bree. Been in Milwaukee my whole life, 25 years old. I'm part of the youth council, and I was a part of the inaugural leadership cohort, the best one there was, so yeah.
Hi, my name is Jordan Terry. I am Art's digital organizer, and my pronouns are she, they.
Don't be shy, y'all. Give it up with them hand claps now. These people up here be working hard. I am Angela Harris. I am an abolitionist educator and a newly art board member. And I have lived in Milwaukee all my life. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Shamika Moore and I am Arts Office Manager and my pronouns is she and her.
Hello, and good evening. My name is Marquesa Tucker Harris. I'm the Executive Director of the African American Roundtable. I'm so excited to see you all. I am born and raised in Milwaukee on the far northwest side, and Shirley's my mom.
Hi, everybody. I'm Devin Anderson. I'm the Campaign and Membership Director with the African American Roundtable. And yeah, I've been here for over 4 years.
What's up? I am Raisha Farmer. It's the enthusiasm in the back for me. I am Raisha Farmer, the Community Program Manager at the African American Roundtable. Pronouns are she, hers. From Milwaukee, Trilwaukee, 21st and Vienna to be specific, but currently live in Automatic District 9 as well.
Okay, I would like to go over the question and answer format and the timekeeping procedures. For the Q&A process, there will be two questions. Sorry. There will be two questions. Each person will have 2 minutes to ask questions. Questions will be submitted via the Facebook live stream chat at some point. In-person guests can raise their hand to be invited to stand and ask their questions. Please try to avoid repeating similar questions so that we may answer as many as possible. Please ask questions with our community agreement in mind. And if we don't get your question in this panel, please ensure that it is in the Facebook live stream chat, and then we will prioritize that. In our timekeeping procedures, each panel is asked to limit their responses to questions to 2 minutes. Moderator can ask probing or clarifying questions, and we might be doing that. And then we'll move on to the next question once we have an answer. Is that okay with everyone? Great.
So this is going to be a very tight group with questions. So if any of you all have questions for the panelists afterwards, ask for a business card, ask for an email, ask for a phone number, or the best way to contact them, because wrapping up might come quickly. So if you really want to talk to someone afterwards, do it quick. All right. And then we have a special introduction of Malisha.
Oh, I can do that. I was thinking that might come when we introduce the panelists all together, but yeah, sure, I got you. So the African American Roundtable recently hired a program and logistics associate. Woohoo! I think this is her second week on the job, is that right? And she's hanging out at our hospitality table at the front desk where you signed in. Say hello to Malisha Reedy. Thanks for being a part of the team, love. She's already so dope and so helpful, so welcome. Thank you.
So I think what we're going to do now is start getting into some of the questions, because the panelists kind of already said their names and their pronouns. So let's get right into it. Ms. Tucker, should you start or should I?
Yes, I will start.
All right.
So within 5 minutes, I need a couple of members of the staff and one of the members to let us know, why do you think this panel is so important? Why did you decide to do this?
I can start. We're all being shy here. No problem. So super excited to be on the panel with such a dope group of folks. And we've been doing a lot of work. We've been a team, I would say the full team, just as recently as we told you, Miss Mylisha, but also Devin and I have been holding the roundtable down since 2019. Prior to that, me and Miss Anita have been holding it down. It's a part of the first iteration of the roundtable. But we've been doing a lot of work to scale, but also a lot of work to build a really strong infrastructure and foundation. So we wanted to take an opportunity and some time to be able to share some of the things that we've learned and what it's taken to really build a strong foundation for our organization.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think from my point of view, I think it's not just the what you do, but it's the how you do it. And I think for us, like, really focusing on the how and how we want to be in relationship with one another, how we want to grow as a team. Like, right, we've seen so many other organizations over the last few years grow at paces so much greater than ours, and I think we've also seen some of the pitfalls for that. So I think for us, it's like Marquesa always talks about, everything we do, it has intention. Like, the people we bring in have intention. The pace and the timing in which we bring in the people has intention. And I think really to be able to share some of that is very important to us in this time.
Yeah, I agree with everything Devin said, but for me it was important because I learned so much from the three down there, and they've just been so inspiring for me. And I came in, I think I started learning about the roundtable in like 2019, 2020 as well. So it's been just like a building block for me in my life, and seeing how much I've grown from being in the roundtable and being able to share like my experiences learning with them, and then learning how it's impacted my journey, be able to help share with others. I felt that it would be important for me because everything they poured into me, I hope to like pour that back into my community. So I I wanted to help share.
Thank you.
That was a great segue to my question. So I'm going to ask each of you a question. You can answer in 60 seconds or less. And I'm going to give you all a different topic. So let's start with Devin. What is the biggest lessons you've learned about abolition?
Ooh, I think for me, it's the idea that abolition is a practice. And so we say we're an abolitionist because we do believe a world with less and eventually no police is possible. No police or prisons is possible. We believe that. But I think what I also know is that world is not going to come here tomorrow. As much as I want it to, it's not going to come here tomorrow. And so for me, abolition is the practice. How do we live every day that shows our abolitionist values? How do we interact with one another? How do we deal with one another, both in terms of setting boundaries, the pacing of the work we do, but also when, I was gonna swear, when stuff does go wrong, how do we relate and try to move through that? And so for me, it's always about practicing abolition in one way or another. How can we support and build care within our communities so that we can allow more and more people to see this world with less police and eventually more police as not only possible, but the only possible solution, the only way forward in this time.
Thank you. Yes, let's clap that up. Marquesa, you're the leader of ART. So what have you learned about rest?
Everybody knows that's one of my favorite topics. So, what I'm noticing is that we haven't necessarily talked about it as healing justice, but I just got this definition and it really rang for me. A community-led response to interrupt, transform, and intervene on an individual, collective trauma, on individual or collective trauma to sustain our emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, environmental well-being. And in order to do healing justice work, we need to be resting. The grind culture, if anybody's heard about the grind culture, the Nat Bishop, Tricia Hersey, she tells us that we have to take breaks. And I say it all the time, if God took the break, why are we taking a break? We are not individuals who can just continue to move through and plow through work without taking breaks. I would say that the best version of myself is when I'm working from a position of rest. I can hear more clearly. I have more creative thoughts. I have more energy to give. My attitude is so much better. My mood is so much better. And it also produces joy. And so that is another practice that we lean deeply into. Rest is necessary in order to do this work. You give the best version of yourself and to those closest to you.
Thank you. Yes, clap that up. Since you are right next to Shamika, we are going to go down the line. Shamika, can you tell me about conflict transformation?
Sure thing. Conflict transformation is something really big to me because a lot of times we look at conflict externally, but then we do not reflect internally. And so with that transformation, you have to dig deeper within yourself. What is it about you? What are your triggers that's causing you to react? A lot of times we like to blame people for what they do. But when we begin to analyze and see the things within ourselves, then we can take accountability. And then where the transformation comes in at is then everything around you begin to change. And that's what ART stands for, is transformation, because there is no way that you can do the work in the community if you don't start with yourself first.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Can you here? My next question is going to be for you, Jordan. Can you speak about pausing and pacing?
Yeah, I think like pausing and pacing is just kind of like really important for this type of work overall. It just gives you like the chance to kind of like reevaluate and also just kind of like see the spots where, you know, hey, I'm not too sure about this. Like maybe there's something that we can do better in this position. So I think it's kind of part of slowing down a little bit. And it just kind of like gives you the chance to like reframe and also just kind of like regroup and just strategize better overall.
Thank you for that. Come on, give her hand claps too. We're going to take it down to Rye. So look at that teamwork.
We a team.
That's a well-oiled machine right there. Raisha, could you talk about values-based partnerships?
For sure, I would love to. So I think in any community work, you find the folks that kind of want to do the same thing as you, and you're excited to collaborate and figure out how to resource share and not reinvent the wheel and blah, 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 blah. And that's all well and good. However, if the person you're collaborating or partnering with does not share your values, they're not approaching the work from the same standpoint, they are not in it for the same reasons that you are, that collaboration, that partnership, that thing is gonna crumble and it's not gonna work out the way you'd like it to. We've seen that happen a few times in a few different ways, and I think we continue to learn that over the years. And so really starting our partnerships and collaborations from a place of like, what are your values? What are you coming to this work with? Just helps us to make for sure the thing is successful in the first place.
Thank you so much. So that concludes our preliminary questions for Art. Are there any questions right now in the audience? Can you get them a mic?
You don't have to stand if you want to. Okay.
Hi, my name is.
Press and hold the circle.
Hi, my name is Cindy Martin. My question is for Devin. You talked about having a society with less police and less prisons. My question is, what is that going to look like, and who's going to be that body that when there is crime, who's going to deal with that situation, and what is that going to look like?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So the question's really centered around what does a world with less police and no police look like? Who's gonna intervene in scenarios when needed? And thanks for that. One of the things that Dr. Ruth Wilson Gilmore talks about when she talks about abolition is she says that abolition is about presence, not absence. It's about presence. So my vision and the vision of the world that I work so hard towards is a vision where we do have access to more resources for our community. Right now we know, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, right now we know based on elected officials that Milwaukee is in this crisis. And all we ever hear is how we're going to cut services. If we don't do this, we're going to cut services. If we don't do this, we're going to have to cut libraries. If we don't do this, we're going to cut this. If we don't do this, we're going to cut that. We never talk about expansion of services, right? We also just believe that like people think abolitionists, like they don't want to spend money. We want to. We want to ensure that everybody has housing. We want to ensure that everybody has access to food and shelter. And so that's part of it, right? We like inherently, I believe that if you meet more people's needs, that a lot of the stuff we see happening wouldn't happen. But I'm not naive. Things are still going to happen. Things are still going to go wrong. There's still going to be conflict. And our vision is how do we engage with that in a different way? I'm going to tell one short example. We're taught our society is punitive by nature. So telling the truth doesn't mean much. It often gets you in more trouble. I remember if I ate the last cookie in the cookie jar, I'd have the crumbs all over my face. I love Oreos. I'd break them apart, lick the little cream filling it out, and then like munch on the chocolate cookie. I'd have the crumbs on my face, and my mom would be like, who ate the last Oreo? And I would deny, because I was afraid that eating the last Oreo, I might have got in trouble. And that's the same in all the ways. It's not beneficial in the current makeup of our society to admit when you've done something wrong. And so part of that and some of the conflict transformation work we want to do is change the way we interact with each other, change the ways in which we're accountable to each other and the rest of our community.
Do we have another question in the audience?
Hi, my name is Mac Kayosala. It's nice to meet all you. Thank you for the invite. I got some literature I'm reading. I'm just kind of learning about the organization, but give me a synopsis. What exactly do you want to do, and how are we going to actually get it done? Now, I know maybe that's a broad question, but kind of give me it's the round table, what can I take away?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for asking that. So when we first started the work, we did a lot of police reform. We have then shifted to this abolition lens. But what we do know and learned over the last few years is we have a heart and a passion to develop leaders. We, across here, we can't do this work by ourselves. So not only are we engaging in asking people to join us to do civic engagement, which is engaging around the city budget, going to testify at budget hearings, learning who your alder people are, we also want to develop and build leaders so that we can do the things that we need outside of the system. We know we have so many black dollars passing through hand to here to there to business here. Why aren't we working together to develop each other's skills so that we can build the systems and the things that we need? Let's start with a mutual aid project. Can we get some gardens going? We know that people need the skills to garden. Can we teach people about finances? Shamika just did a meeting a couple months ago on how to get your credit score raised. Okay, people need their credit score raised because they need loans quite possibly, but maybe we don't want a loan. So how is it that you can teach me how to save the pennies I do have to build what I can? So we're teaching and developing skills. And like Shamika said, one thing that we're really, really deep on is you have to transform yourself. There is self-work that has to be done because we can't be in community with each other, like Devin said, and create this world that we want if we're constantly in conflict. So when we have conflict at the round table, we have a process of what that looks like. We give feedback often, and we do it from a grounded place. We're not, we try hard not to come from our biases. Oh, Shamika, I didn't like the way you did this today. No, Shamika, let me tell you the impact of what you did and how it's affected the team, how it's affected you first, how it's affected the team, but then overall how that's gonna affect the programs, and then how it's gonna affect the community. So it's this ripple effect. So we do a lot of self-work, but we also are looking to bring in other leaders to help us carry the work. And we're not saying that you got to do it, do everything that we're doing. You could develop your skills and go build something else. You don't have to necessarily be a part of our organization, but do we want you a part of our base? Absolutely. So I'm not going to push anybody away. So we have these cohorts that like Bree was a part of where we bring in fellows through a leadership development cohort. We teach them skills. Some of them end up staying in the fold. Renetta's here in the fold as a leader. Bree's here in the fold as a leader. And there's also who else? Bridgman also is here as a leader. But sometimes they take the skill and they'll stay and build with us. Sometimes they take the skill and they go build something else. So if we are constantly in places where we're developing leaders' skills, the tools they need, connecting to other people to either help us to build something or go build something else, that's the ripple effect that we're looking for.
As a individual that has been doing the work but not receiving any income, my question is, how can I help y'all help me?
I know that's right, Vente. So we have multiple, I won't say all the time, but we do create opportunities for people to engage. So for instance, like I said, we just had the participatory budgeting committee that we just recently launched. And there's a committee of folks from the Northwest side who are joining. So we're constantly sharing these opportunities. Leadership development cohort, that started a few months ago. We actually just did some canvassing at Juneteenth Day. Sometimes it's gonna be paid, sometimes it's not. I have people who are working with me to help to fundraise the money, but also to create some ideas on how we can generate some revenue outside of foundations. And this is why we ask people to join membership. This is why we ask people to help us build and come and think about some ideas alongside of us. I can't fundraise the money by myself. Devin can't, but maybe you have a creative idea. So Vente, there's always opportunity for you to come in. Like even today, we can't, like I said, I can't guarantee we're always gonna be able to pay you. Renetta today is our volunteer lead. And Tara here at the volunteer desk. These are people volunteering their time, and as opportunities come available, we always share with our volunteers. We always share with our basic people to bring in the opportunity for them to eventually get to a place where we can pay them for the work that they're doing. We gotta be real honest.
Are there any more questions from the audience? I appreciate each and every one of you who did decide to have a question. I think this would be a good time for the Facebook chat to start developing their questions, and for all of us who are here to take a small break so that we can enjoy some food together. So maybe let's be back in about 5 to 10 minutes and let's enjoy some food.